Hey everyone,
50
welcome.
shit going Star Command. Come in, Star Command. There seems to be no sign of intelligent life anywhere.
As I had a wand up my nose while you were doing that. Oh dear Lord, that was it. Poorly timed on my part. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Get Sweaty. I am, as usual, your friendly neighborhood soda, joined as always by Big Fudge Ben Rainer and none other than 50 Shades of Planet, all the way from the other side of the universe. How are you all doing today?
Doing well. I'm just take a little trip out here on the moon. Then I'm going to wake up everything, and it's quite peaceful up here.
Yeah, but remember, up in space, nobody can hear you scream.
Well, that's it's a good thing he's on a celestial body, so
Yeah, that's true.
maybe someone can hear him scream.
Yeah, how about you, 50? How you doing on this? Well, for us, it's morning. For you, I guess it's night.
Well, yeah, a whole week of doing night shifts at work is all culminating in this. So, yeah, I haven't slept since 1969.
Okay, then.
Then you mean that it on the moon?
Yeah.
That's the reason I haven't slept, because once
one
you've seen the moon,
of the best.
what is night really?
One of the best lines from Dumb and Dumber is he's walking out of the bar and he sees this thing. We landed on the moon? No way!
I love that movie.
So, in case you couldn't figure it out by Ben's background, by 50's name, we're doing our top 5 alien planets. Now, I went at this a little differently because when I'm watching movies, I don't always pay attention to things like planets. I'm mostly focusing on what's going on. But because of that, I went into this looking at planets that I would like to visit from properties I have seen. So I don't know how you guys went into your lists.
The same.
I just went planets that really impacted the story, planets with good environments and lore behind them in history and species, obviously, stuff like that.
All right. So who's starting us off today?
Well, it was Taco's subject, so you, I guess. I don't know.
Okay,
Or me,
then.
because I was sitting next to him. I don't know.
Yeah, okay. So I can easily do that. Just give me one moment. I'm actually just making be doing something to bring up my photos. Hold on. Saving a picture. So yeah, my first one is from the TV show Supergirl. Holy crap, that was a screw up.
Girl and Superville.
That was a screw up and a half if I ever saw one. Holy shit.
Okay, Ben cut the feed. Let's start over.
Yeah.
Well, early enough, and I can do that.
It's Argo City from Supergirl.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it is. I was sitting there thinking, like, what are some beautiful places that I want to visit? And I also remembered there was an episode in season 3 where Kara goes to Argo City because it's where her mom lives. And if I'm not mistaken, Superman and Lois are also there because she's pregnant. Or does that happen later? Either way, I know they are.
It happens in Crisis.
Okay.
They go there on Elseworlds, and then in Crisis, they meet up back there again.
Okay, well, either way, that episode was the first time I'd ever seen the city, and it's for something you could tell they use landscape shots of Vancouver, just put in some CGI buildings. It still looks pretty cool. It looks like a wonderful, peaceful environment that I could see, spending a vacation on, just enjoying the sights and marveling at otherworldly things. And yeah, I think it would be pretty cool.
And apparently a good place to raise your children.
Yeah.
But see, the reason I wouldn't even have considered it is because that doesn't fall into my definition of a planet.
Yeah, I didn't realize that till very, very late.
That's a part of Krypton. So I wouldn't consider it myself, much like I wouldn't consider something else that may or may not come up on one of your guys' list. But we'll talk about that if the opportunity comes. So that's why I don't consider it I wouldn't have considered it for my list, but it's still a place. It's a celestial body.
Well, that planet would have an interesting question to me, and I haven't thought about. In Superman and Lois, all those kids, were those kids born in Argo City?
It's possible.
And does that make them alien?
Well, they already are half alien just based on their flag.
they're half Kryptonian. So.
Okay, yeah. Touche.
I mean, that goes without saying.
What?
All right. So, Ben,
It's
what is...
touche, not touche. It's touche.
Fair point. Ben, what is your number
I'm
5?
I'm guessing none of you guys watched Drake and Josh.
No. Sorry, that one skipped me by quite a few years.
Another good reason why we need Saul back on the show again.
Okay. My number 5 on 50, you want to take it.
Oh, yeah, I guess it would be 50 next clockwise. Yeah, so 50, you're number 5.
I mean, it all depends on if you want to go clockwise or counterclockwise.
We'll do like we normally do, so clockwise, so 50, you're next.
Okay, my number 5, also to what you were saying earlier about vacations, I went with Risa from Star Trek, also known as the Vacation Planet. So basically, in the original Star Trek era, the original show with William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy, the Enterprise crew accidentally stumbled on this planet, which, for lack of a better word, it was basically Wonderland from the story of Alice in Wonderland, complete with the white rabbit and everything. So yeah, it turns out that all the weird stuff that they were seeing there were just hallucinations, and it was the planet's way of welcoming people from other planets to it by presenting stuff that they would be familiar with, stuff that they may or may not have enjoyed. And after Starfleet discovered it, still during that era, which was expanded upon in the Star Trek animated series, which not a lot of people saw, but that was when Starfleet decided to straight up make that planet a vacation planet. And for the majority of the Next Generation era, and especially during the Deep Space Nine era, it's a place where people go for vacation. It's a great honeymoon spot. Commander Worf and Jadzia Dax went there for their honeymoon. And it's as well as I can't remember the name of the Ferengi guy from Quarks who also went there with his newlywed wife to a honeymoon. But yeah, it's basically a honeymoon planet. It's a vacation planet. It's a planet that changes its environment to suit your needs, and it's a great place to visit. So that's reason enough for me to put it on my list.
Right on.
It kind of sounds like that planet from that movie Contact. Have you ever seen that?
I saw it when it came out on VHS like 27 years ago.
I thought you were saying First Contact, the Star Trek movie, and I was like, wait, there wasn't a planet in that movie.
No, they just did that one. They just went to Earth, like what, 10 years from now?
Something like that.
Yeah.
It sounds like a nice planet, 50.
Yeah. And obviously, I know, Soda, you started watching Star Trek Next Generation. I can't wait for you to get to that part of the.
I'm slow because I'm doing that with along with 2 other shows. I'm slowly making my way through it, but yes.
It sounds like it's helping you, though.
You'll see what he means if you watch that match 50.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Spoilers, I got Star Trek on my second spin, and here I'm just like, shit. Like I thought it was gonna shit the bed. I went 3 for 5, 4 for 5, went to multiple choice twice. Yeah. I was shocked. I was surprised at how well I did in Star Trek.
Sometimes it's these categories that really shock you. Like my debut match in the fan leagues, I landed on Middle Earth, my second spin, and I aced that category. I only went to multiple choice once, and I got everything else correct.
I'm not gonna lie. That was the category on the wheel that I really didn't want to get because I've only seen the movies 3 times, spaced out over 20 years. So okay. So
quick reminder. It's Rom, the name of the Ferengi from Star Trek, and his wife is Leda, which is a Bajoran.
Nice, Leda.
Just wanted to point that
name. I've always liked the name Leda.
Leda Lestrange.
Well, I was thinking more Lita, the WWE former heavy women's champion, but yeah, that works as well.
Okay, so should I say my number 5?
If you wouldn't be so
If you
kind.
want.
Yeah, that's just kind of why we're here.
You don't have to, but go ahead.
It might get punted. Hopefully not. The Forest Moon of Endor from Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, I purposely left that one off my list.
Yeah, me too. Because once again, it's not a planet; it's a moon. So that's why I decided to keep it.
I didn't think about that. I left it off because I was having a hard time. I didn't want to seem like the basic bitch, so I kind of stretched it a little bit on my end. So if I went Star Wars, I went with some other planet that doesn't get as much love.
Okay,
that's how I looked at it.
Mustafar.
Yeah, no kidding. Actually, you guys will like mine.
Okay.
I got 2 of them.
Yeah, mine. Yeah, I want to go to the Forest Moon of Endor. Oh, we stay away from the Ewoks. I didn't want to go camping there. The forest looks beautiful. It looks like you're going to have a nice camping weekend. Sign me up.
And also just the idea of a forest moon, a moon that's just lush forests.
Yeah.
Honestly,
most moons in our solar system are kind of frozen or barren or inhospitable, even though there have been signs of aliens on one of them. But yeah, a forest moon, that sounds incredible. That's a great idea.
Yeah, I almost like when I think, okay, what's Star Wars planet? Like this was the first one that popped in my mind because of how iconic it is, and because it reminds me, truthfully, of where I live, because I am surrounded by forests and all that stuff.
I'm going to say.
Oh, good for you.
I'm going to say, do you have like little Ewoks running around?
We do have big dogs. But no, it's honestly, if you go outside of my town, it's pretty much what it is like in every direction. So that will always hold a special place in my heart. But because, like I said, I wanted to go with something that I feel doesn't get as much love, and I knew it would end up on somewhere on this list, I went a little bit more off the beaten path.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
So what's your number 4, Matt?
So it is the first of my 2 Star Wars matches. Matches. God damn it, Star Wars.
You know what burns me? Matches.
Fuck. All right. It is from Star Wars Rebels, and it is the planet that they always seem to be returning to. It is Lothal.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of bad things happening there, but because it is the first time, it's the first place we visit in the pilot episode. It's where we meet all the characters. Every season, something major happens to this planet. Not just that, this landscape is incredibly beautiful, especially if you look at it from where Ezra lives. That's a place I could definitely see. Like, again, circling back to where I'm from, I could see that as a place where you could bring out your ATVs and just go have some fun.
And you might meet a Jedi hiding around somewhere.
Yeah, there is an old Jedi temple on Lothal, which apparently has a portal to the world between worlds. So basically, you can go anywhere.
Yeah.
Anytime. Exactly. If I wasn't watching, like, balancing 3 shows at once, I would pick up Star Wars Rebels, because I do somewhere back here own the whole series.
Have you seen it?
Sorry?
Have you seen it?
Oh, yeah, I watched it all the way through.
But
however, I came into it all when it was going into the final season, so I didn't actually get to watch live.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But hands down, one of my favorite Star Wars properties. Hands down.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
It's great.
I think I know what I'm going to watch tonight after the Star Wars show. I think I'm just going to pop in a few episodes and watch it. It's been the last time I watched it was when I moved into this apartment 5 years ago.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Which is around the time when it ended, I think.
Yeah, because I was living in my apartment. The first year of my apartment was the final season. And so I was playing catch up.
Same here, I think. The last season was when I moved into this apartment.
Yeah. I remember I couldn't watch because Disney. What channel was it on? Disney
XD.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't have that channel, so I couldn't watch it live if I wanted to. So I ended up having to wait till the Blu-ray came out to finally finish, and that's what I ended up doing with all of them. Because let's remember, folks, this was pre-Disney Plus. I don't even think Disney Plus had been announced at that time.
No.
So you had no choice, but if you didn't have the channel, you had no choice but to get the Blu-rays, and I'm glad I did because there's some really great bonus features on them.
Speaking of which, I think they even recently announced that the date when Disney Plus is coming to here. So I need to look that up later, but
Right on.
a long time coming
Nice.
Finally, you don't have to go to illegal methods to do stuff.
for Disney Plus. That is
Yeah, for Disney Plus.
for other stuff, maybe, but.
50, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is a not so much talked about planet, which I think is a shame. It's a very underrated planet. It is the planet of Odim. Not to be confused with Odin. It is Odim.
Punt.
Seriously?
Seriously, it's a small punt, but it's a punt.
Okay.
You're
Man,
talking
what's
Blue
going on?
Lanterns, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, slight punt. Slight punt, motherfucker. I never thought
That's
I'd
that's the one I didn't think was going to get punted. That and Ryza. Okay.
Well, sorry.
Man, what's your number 4?
Yeah, okay, you can call me a basic bitch when that's one of you guys want. Star Wars is a beautiful planet. If a planet from Naboo.
Again,
punt.
another one that almost ended up on my
Punt.
list.
But, okay.
I'm just gonna say this. I took it off for the same reasons. I didn't use it for the same reasons why I used Endor, but that definitely is one of the most beautiful planets in the Star Wars universe.
Well, don't do it when you get there.
Okay, so now we're on to the slight punt. We are on to Odom. It was my number 3.
Okay.
So I'll 50. If you want to describe, I'll bring up the picture.
I mean, you can't really talk about the planet without bringing up a picture. And first of all, just look at this beautiful landscape and where they put the Blue Lantern ring. Forget what the name of it is, but yeah,
That's the power battery.
Yeah, the Blue Lantern power. Plus, it's a planet I got to visit a lot in the Lego video game. The planet is a series of floating landscapes that are somehow connected to each other. And it is, if you can't fly, it is entirely possible to fall off into the planet's core. First of all, the idea of that is just amazing that someone was able to come up with that idea. And plus, the music they used for that planet is one of my favorite pieces of music in that game, in any Lego game, period. And there are houses in there, they're very old-timey wooden houses with very quaint farmer people. And it's just like you saw in the pictures, there's some sort of oceans and rivers in between all the missing pieces of land that just I don't know. It just felt like such a great, cool idea for a design of a planet, which, gotta be honest, not a big fan of the way a lot of Marvel and DC planets look like, but this planet really takes the cake out of all of them.
I 100% agree, and I'm like looking at the picture and like doing a little bit of research to get my list together, and it's like, to me, this is what, if you're going to go biblical, this is what the Garden of Eden would look like.
Yeah,
I have a question.
Complete with getting ready to fall off.
Exactly.
Can you bring up that picture again real quick?
Yeah, of course.
Tell me, that did not look like Pandora from Avatar to you?
It kind of does, and
a little. And even like I said, in the video game, it does kind of look like it.
And I think Avatar came out first, actually. I think about it, because I'm trying to relate to it when it happened in the comics. Avatar was 08, and those
09.
09, and the Blue Lanterns were introduced like a year later.
Okay. I'm going to say, one of those look.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was borrowed from the other one. Who that was, I don't know, but interesting.
Yeah, and here's a little bit of a fun fact for that. It revolves around a star that actually we do know in real life. It revolves around the star Polaris, which we know as the North Star.
Nice.
Yeah, cool. I do want to bring up one more picture. Like that one, the one I had earlier was of the landscape. Now this is of the waterscape. Like how cool, how beautiful is that?
Yeah.
And there's Saint Walker just chilling.
Yes, St. Walker, who is essentially the head of the Blue Lanterns. There's just one thing that for the Blue Lanterns, it sucks that really their rings only work if there's a Green Lantern nearby.
Yeah, and don't they have like a rule where the weakest member gets to choose the next member or something like that?
I think so. Yeah, it's been a while since I've read a Blue Lantern comic, but they were founded by 2 exiled members of the Guardians of Oa, and they took things a little differently than what was done in the past. I remember that.
Which is kind of like all the other Lantern Corps. They're like different
Yeah,
points of views on how peace should be governed in the universe.
that I know Jeff Johns is getting a lot of shit, and rightfully so. But that Green Lantern run that he wrote is hands down the best run ever done in comics. Hands down, for the story, the scenery, the characters, the stakes, the epicness. Like, holy crap.
Can I ask you guys a question? Seeing you both, how much fans you are of the Lanterns?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite Green Lantern?
Favorite Green Lantern?
Yeah.
I mean, it's basic, but for me, it's Hal Jordan.
Same here.
If you look at the full scale of Hal Jordan from where he started, where he went to where he is now, like, he's covered it all.
Okay.
Yeah.
In all honesty, how did you hear about Ryan Reynolds' portrayal of him?
I personally thought it was fine.
Yeah, the movie wasn't so memorable, but he's pretty good in it.
Yeah, like what they did is I see that they tend to do a lot of times with the Flash is they've kind of amalgamized 2 versions of the Flash, and that's really what they did with Green Lantern. Like, it was supposed to be Hal Jordan, but he had the wit of a Kyle Rayner and a Guy Gardner.
Okay.
Honestly, I think if they had not straight Hal Jordan, I think people would have remembered him differently.
But I think if you get Ryan Reynolds, you get that wit. You get that humor.
Yeah, that's why you cast him.
For sure. But I mean, he could have done that humor while still being the arrogant asshole that Hal Jordan was. I didn't really get that much arrogance from him in that role, if that makes sense. Because I'm looking at it where Green Lantern was at that time and what I know of Green Lantern. I thought he was fine. I'm one of the few I don't hate the movie, even though it's been a really long time since I've revisited it. The only thing that really pisses me off is what they did to Parallax. I mean, Parallax was never a cloud. He was a giant insect that infiltrates you and puts fear.
Yeah, neither was Galactus. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, exactly. It's like what they did to Galactus. It makes no sense. Hey, Taco!
Hey, Taco.
Looks like someone is a fan of Jon Stewart, as am I.
And yeah, like here, that's the thing. If you look at like the main Green Lanterns, like none of them are bad. Like I like all of them, but it's just because Hal Jordan was my
Guy Gardner.
Yeah, Guy Gardner to a degree, especially when he's fighting with Batman early in the days of Justice League International. But Hal Jordan,
I think him into the nose.
Yes, and I do have the
original. It was a moment so iconic, it transitioned into an animated show.
Yeah, and not just that, you had Blue Beetle and you had Booster Gold busting their nut laughing in the background. But no, the reason why I think I gravitate more to Hal Jordan is because Green Lantern Rebirth, which was the reintroduction of Hal Jordan as the Green Lantern, is the comic book that brought me back into comic books. So I think that's why I gravitate more towards that, because it does have that emotional attachment to it.
But yeah, fair is fair. Jon Stewart was my first Green Lantern all the way back in the
animated
Justice League animated series, which was a huge ballsy move for go instead of going with the Green Lantern people were more familiar with. They just went and did the Black Green Lantern, which is now the most iconic for a lot of people. And also Phil Lamar voices him.
Yeah,
doesn't like Phil Lamar.
Like, and I mean, if they ever bring him to the big screen, which it looks like they're doing, I wouldn't be upset if it was any version of that. Hell, they could have brought in Sodom Yat, and they could have brought in any other Green Lantern. Even what's the new guy, the Muslim guy that they introduced a few years ago? Do you remember?
I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember his name.
Yeah, even Simon something or other. Even him, like if he was the main character, that would have been awesome. Because it's a character you don't know much about, and you can flesh out quite a bit.
So, if you were casting Jon Stewart for a movie, who would you cast?
Well, I mean, the obvious answer is Idris Elba.
He's a little too old. But
that's what I'm thinking. If we're going to go younger.
I mean, from the looks of how Crisis on Infinite Earth ended, it looked like they were going to make Diggle a Green Lantern of sorts. And
they're actually hinting towards that because they did release a clip from an upcoming episode of The Flash with Diggle, and they do touch on that. But in terms of who do I want as John Stewart, I'm trying to think like who were. Michael B. Jordan is another obvious one.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, how about I know he's in the MCU now, but John Majors.
see, that was my mind went there.
That's same, but we're talking about Kang, from the season finale of Loki. It looks a little too comedic to play such a serious character.
You could do this because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't canon anymore, but the guy that they got to play, what was his name? It's the big, bald, black guy.
Oh, I know what you mean.
Henry Simmons.
Yes! I think he could
Henry
do it.
Simmons would be great.
Yeah, I think he could do it because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s not canon anymore.
Yeah, and also, if he wasn't playing James Olsen, Mehcad Brooks would have been a great choice.
Yes.
How about this? What's his name? It's going to sound weird, but I think you can pull it off. Skin my kill.
Oh,
You're not
God,
wrong.
that's
It does sound weird.
He would look the part. Yeah, and this is, I was also thinking this one as well. Lakeith Stanfield would be a good one.
Yeah.
All right, so who's turn
I think, bottom line, as long as it's a black guy, we're okay with it.
Exactly. Yeah, as long as he's a black guy, good actor, and charming as
long
all
as
hell.
it's a black guy and also huge and muscular.
Yep.
Because that's what you need to be one in order to be a Green Lantern.
Yeah.
50.
Right.
Who is your number 3? 50.
Well, before I get to my number 3, don't you want to at least bring up a picture of Odin from orbit to bring it back to Odin?
Yeah, just give me 1 second. Luckily, not copy image, save image. Just give me a moment.
Just drag it onto the desktop like regular people. Yep. There's the place.
Yep. Beautiful planet.
Yeah, beautiful planet indeed. My number 3 is actually a pun from earlier, which is the planet of Naboo. I mean, do you want to go first, Ben? Because it was your pick first.
Sure. It is a wonderful planet. But, yeah, it has sand. I know it has sand. But it looks beautiful. It looks like a nice place. It has beautiful landscaping. It has an underwater city if you want to do that too. It looks like a wonderful place to visit. I would love to go.
I mean, look at that.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to go there?
Look at
That's
that.
a vacation planet. That's what that is.
Yeah.
It's paradise. It's wonderful.
To carry off the conversation we had earlier about the Garden of Eden.
Yeah. This is another one that you could use as a visual representation of Garden of Eden. I'm actually disappointed we never have gone back to there after in the main saga after the prequels. I don't know. I kind of would like to have seen where Naboo is currently.
Yeah,
I
you kind of see it at the end of Return of the Jedi.
That's true. But I mean, like in the
Get out of here. This is our show. Get out of here.
I have a patent theory about this.
Okay.
Vader got rid of it because he hated the sand.
That would be Tatooine.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And Tatooine clearly ain't gone nowhere.
New.
Okay. I'll fill myself out.
Okay, bye.
All right.
So, anyways,
no, I'm kidding.
And one of them.
Anytime I can get Ben to flip me off, it's a good day.
It's like me talking about the Lion King. Anyways, so going back to Naboo, one of the main reasons I'm upset that the new Lego game is being postponed indefinitely was
indefinitely
for the moment.
I was looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too. But I mean, it was announced years ago, and barely any progress on the development as of now. So I was really hoping you gotta give them credit. Their ambition, they had great ambitions.
Mhm.
They had like 60 planets they wanted you to go and visit. That's
That's
a lot of areas and locations to make in a video game. I would have loved to have seen Naboo, and according to reports, all the planets would have been completely explorable, which means you could go from the forests where the Trade Federation ships landed with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon on. You could have gone to the battlefield where the Gungans fought the battle droids. You could have gone to the main city of Theed. You could have gone down to the water. Yeah, there's the main city of Theed.
That's a beautiful, beautiful shot.
Yeah. Imagine going to that place in a video game.
Right.
And also, you could have gone all the way down underwater to the underwater city of Gunga City. Like, it would have been a great place to explore. Now, I do think Taco would probably correct me if I'm wrong about this, if I haven't already kicked him out of the show. But I do believe they go back to Naboo in the second Battlefront game, the canon one. I think there's a mission involving Leia there. Speaking of which, I think, if I remember correctly, in the comic book Shattered Empire, there is a moment that takes place on Naboo with Princess Leia, and Princess Leia goes into the main hangar where Darth Maul fought Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, and she's able to sense his presence through the Force. She's like, wait, something's wrong. There's a presence here, and then it's like, you see the eyes of Darth Maul appear above her for like a frame, for one panel, and then they just move on. So I just love, whenever we get to talk about Leia's Force abilities, it's great. But also, speaking of which, it is the home planet of the Senator of Naboo, former Senator of Naboo, Padme Nabiria Amidala, and also another former Senator of Naboo, Sheev Palpatine. So yeah, that planet really did bring us the best and the worst of that particular era of Star Wars. And also, it's kind of interesting to me that in the Leia book, Leia Princess of Alderaan, they also go into the fact that the planet not only had a moon, it had a mining moon where they were mining. I can't remember what it was exactly they were mining, but Captain Panaka, who was like Padme's right-hand man throughout the prequels, he's the governor there. He's Imperial now, and Leia and Evelyn Holdo go there for a visit or something. Maybe it wasn't Holdo. It wasn't. I think maybe it was Leia's handmaiden or something. But they go there. There's a slight moment where Panaka almost recognizes Leia, because she reminds him of Padme, and right after she left his office, he was left contemplating on whether or not Leia did have children, because he knew Leia was pregnant. He didn't think she gave birth before dying. Right before he picks up on that idea that she's actually Leia's daughter, Saw Gerrera's partisans blow the hell thing up and he dies.
Oh, damn.
But no, he was Imperial, so it wouldn't have been a good idea for him to know about the existence of Leia's children at that point.
I actually did look this up, and yes, it is in the Battlefront game.
Yeah, I do remember there was a specific mission involving Leia. I do remember that mission gave me a bit of a rough time. But yeah, Naboo. And it was also most of it was filmed in Italy, so who wouldn't want to go there?
Another reason to go to Italy. If only those waterfalls were real. God damn.
Yeah,
if only. The thing we'll get is Niagara Falls.
As long as those giant fart animals that Anakin was riding on don't exist, I'm fine with it.
Okay, so Ben, you're next.
I am choosing the planet Xandar from the MCU.
Xandar. Oh, that's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Nice. Very
Filmed
nice.
in Great Britain.
I totally forgot about that planet.
So did the MCU for a moment, but
This seems like a fun planet, most like Earth, great city, and I would visit it. What are your thoughts on it, guys?
Oh, totally. Looks like there's a lot of fun stuff to do there, and you never know. You might come across a battle of MCU heroes.
Oh, no.
Or dance off.
But then again, there really isn't much left of the planet.
That's true.
After Thanos decimated it. Yeah, there's the place.
That's wow.
Now, see, you in the Lego games, you don't actually get to go there, but in the Lego Marvel Superheroes 2,
Yeah.
which does involve Kang the Conqueror, there is a section of Xandar that you can go there and explore.
That is a fun game. Lego Marvel Superheroes 2.
Yeah, and if you want to know more about Kang, that's a great way to learn more about him because there is
100% because he's the main bad guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like in that game specifically, there are like character cards that explain all you need to know about each character you're playing as.
Yeah, highly recommended people go play that game.
Well, I'm sorry, what game?
Lego Marvel Superheroes 2. They bring in a lot of planets like that, and it's pretty fun.
Nice. I mean, yeah, look at that. It looks like a beautiful city. It's probably the most like Earth in the MCU.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It looks like something you would see like in Dubai or something like that.
Yeah, filmed in the United Kingdom, I think.
It was.
And yeah. Okay. That's number 2.
Okay, so this one 50 will appreciate, and I do wish Saul was here for this one. It is a planet that is simply known as the Library.
Ooh, nice! I love it.
Yeah, so this 50, what's the name of the episode again?
Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead.
Yes, it is part of a 2-part series in series 4 of the revival of Doctor Who with David Tennant and Donna as the companion. Basically, they are alerted here, and it's literally the whole planet is just a library, and it's like wall-to-wall books uncovering everything that's ever happened in the history of life, I guess.
Every book ever written.
Every book ever written. Yeah, it's basically it does, take people in. It is Doctor Who after all. It does turn them into these kind of like lifeless librarians.
No, it's not really the planet's fault. Let's be real here.
It's not. But in this episode, you are led to believe that, right?
Yeah, and it also has a moon called a Doctor Moon, which it's basically like a virus checker because the core of the planet is a giant supercomputer that has the knowledge of every single book ever written, and so the Doctor Moon is kind of like a virus checker that checks the viruses on make sure that everything is okay with the system. And the entire place was created as like a dying gift to this girl who loved books more than anything else, and so this guy made an entire planet that's just a library and put her consciousness into the main core of the computer core of the planet.
So it sounds like the beast cake bell. If you nail the beast, it's just a big planet of library instead of a room.
And fun fact, the person that was 50 was just talking about, the one who creates the library and all stuff, played by the gentleman who played the barber in Nobody, who also played Oliver Queen's stepfather in the first season of Arrow, Colin Salmon.
And he also played General Zod on Krypton.
Yes,
correct. Yes.
Great dude, great guy.
This is this episode is notable primarily for one thing. These 2 episodes, it's the introduction of a character that is very prominent in Matt Smith's era, River Song. This is her first
River Song.
Yeah, Professor River Song. We are introduced to her in this episode. Now, here's what's the beautiful part of her story. This is the last time she sees the Doctor, and it's the first time he meets her.
Yeah, it's the episode she dies.
Yeah, so every time they meet each other going forward, it's basically like this. It's just 2 timelines racing towards each other.
And then they cross.
And I forgot until last night that River Song was also in the Eververse.
Yeah, she played
the mom of the Black
Laurel Lance's mother. Yeah, Laurel Lance's mom.
Yep. Yeah, so to see her and John Barrowman reunited was actually pretty cool.
Yeah. Because they never actually meet on the show.
That's right.
But
they don't.
But she does use the same gun that he had in the first season, and it's often referenced that he left it there because both episodes were written by Stephen Moffat, by the way. the episode that introduced Jack and the episode that introduced her, and it is referenced that he left his gun in the TARDIS for her to find later.
And doesn't she also use his time? What do you call it? The thing.
Vortex manipulator.
Yeah, it's been a while. So some of the names I'm forgetting, but yeah, I thought she had those as well.
Yeah, I really hope Raiko is watching this because he's got a Doctor Who match coming up against me. So we just want to make sure he knows he's going to lose. But
when is it?
Whenever anyone can write questions for it, because Soul sure as hell ain't writing any questions.
I'll help.
Fine, talk to Soul about it.
I will. I'll message her later saying I will help with this.
But anyways, as I was saying, she got the Vortex manipulator from Doria Maldava, who mentions taking it off a handsome time agent. It's not actually referenced who that guy is, but it's highly likely that it was him because they cut it off with the hand still attached.
Nice.
All right, so that was my number 2. So 50, what is your number 2?
Well, we're staying in the realm of Doctor Who, and we're going to the planet Skaro for this one.
Yes. See, I was thinking about Skaro, but it's like I don't think I've ever actually seen an episode where they went to Skaro.
That's because they haven't done it in
not in the new Who.
David Tennant, Eccleston, and Smith era. They did bring the planet back. Well, no, wait. There was an episode on Skaro where we briefly see a giant Dalek statue. It was the episode, The Asylum of the Daleks. You remember that one?
Yes.
The episode that introduced Clara.
Yes, the one where she where she turns out she's a Dalek. Yeah.
Yeah, the episode starts on Skaro where you see the giant Dalek statue, but they also go back to Skaro in the Capaldi era, and they had a bunch of episodes taking place on Skaro. That was the episode that introduced the Daleks in way back in 1964, I think.
First season.
First season, second story that they ever did. That is a planet specifically designed to kill you. Like, any way you slice it, even in that first episode where they introduced the Daleks, it takes place. Fun fact, just like how River Song's first episode was the episode she died, technically speaking, the first episode where we see the Daleks is kind of the last story because it takes place hundreds of years in the future.
Yes, yeah.
Long after a grueling battle between the Daleks and the Thals, where the Daleks use a giant nuclear bomb to irradiate the entire planet. Everything turned to stone, except for the Thals, who somehow developed an immunity to it. But the Daleks were just trapped in this one city on Skaro, unable to leave because they couldn't, at that time, they couldn't travel outside of the entire...
What happened?
Well, Taco, at least we know where your mind is.
Yeah, at least we know what his number 1 is. Anyways,
apparently Taco refers more than just the food.
Yeah. So going back to Skaro, the entire planet was irradiated, and even when they went back to it years later in other stories, like I said, the planet is just designed to kill you. Even the plants, there are plants called Varga plants, which are like these giant cactuses with large spikes, and if you somehow get cut by one of those spikes by accident, stung or any otherwise, you get the sudden urge to kill people, to kill everything you see, slowly losing your mind, going more and more deranged as time goes on, until you eventually become a Varga plant yourself. Charming place, might I add. But yeah, there's these giant clams, which are the creations of Davros, who also created the Daleks. But yeah, it is a very, very hostile environment, but it has so much lore in it that it made it to number 2 on my list. And it's a planet I did actually get to explore in the video game Lego Dimensions, where you do actually get to see Varga plants, and kill them, because that's what you do with Varga plant. But yeah, it is, like I said, it's a very hostile planet, home of one of the most brutal alien races in all of pop culture, and it's definitely worth exploring.
Right on. Yeah, there's nothing like great old Doctor Who lore, is there? Like, it's just you look at it just when you're watching the show and you're like, okay, they're introducing this planet, but then when you really go and you just go deep dive into it, there is so much there.
Yeah, and the idea that Daleks never really die, they just keep on living in the sewers of that planet. They keep existing there for the rest of eternity.
Not a way to live.
I'm sorry. They are the exterminate people, right?
Yeah, exterminate. Yeah, they're the ones with the plunger and the whisk.
Okay, only confuse them with the Cybermen.
That is a Dalek.
Nice.
Exterminate. That is also the Matt Smith era Daleks.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, because they do look quite a bit differently. And the Matt Smith, when they redid the Daleks, actually for Christopher Eccleston, they redesigned the height of it to match the eye level of Billy Piper. They made them taller.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh. And then they made him even taller with that design.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so Ben, your numero dos.
I'm telling you, I'm a basic bitch again from Star Wars. If the movie is like Los Angeles, Coruscant is like New York, and I want to go there.
Agreed.
Let me just correct you for a second. It is pronounced Coruscant, as we learned last week on Let's Talk About Star Wars with Evan, Taco, and Amazing. Am I correct on this, Taco?
But it's pronounced Coruscant in everything canon.
I know, but it's too bad you weren't on the show. Amazing kept mispronouncing everything. He said Coruscant. He said Ocloon. What else did he say? I can't even remember. But yeah, he basically mispronounced everything worth pronouncing. And he said it was because of my Corellian accent. Come on.
The one episode I miss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like who could have expected that?
Yeah, I don't have the clip ready, 50. Don't do that.
I know. He's like to mess with you.
All right, Ben, why Coruscant?
It looks like a fun planet to go for a long weekend. It has theater, it has good food, it has nighttime. It looks like a fun city planet to visit. I don't know if I would want to live there, but it looks hell of a lot of fun. The views are amazing. God, it's a nice planet.
Now, question. This is more for 50. Is that the planet that gets destroyed by Starkiller Base in Force Awakens?
No.
Okay.
It's there's Coruscant. There's Coruscant, and there's the Galactic Senate right there. But that planet that gets destroyed, Taco can correct me on this. Is it Hosnian Prime? I think it was the Hosnian system, and I think Hosnian Prime, a planet that happened to feature Martha Jones, to bring it back to Doctor Who for a second.
That's right, yeah.
Martha Jones as Corsella was on that planet, and she did appear in Bloodlines, I think.
Oh, here's a little fun tying it back to Doctor Who. There, 50. So Martha's sister from that series was in Loki.
Yeah, Gugum Bathara.
Yeah, one of the coolest names I've ever heard.
Who did she play?
She was the timekeeper that betrayed them.
Oh,
Ravonna.
Yeah, I couldn't remember her name.
nice.
Ravonna Ranslayer. Moto!
Nice.
Okay, so I don't have any honorable mentions. 50.
Going back to Coruscant, it's sad to me that the only time I actually got to visit that planet was in SWTOR, Star Wars: The Old Republic, the MMO, which takes place immediately after the Sith launched a massive attack, basically destroying. Yeah. Oh, okay. So I think I was right, but I'm on the show with you later tonight, so I will ask Evan that. But the thing about
nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
I thought you said you didn't have it.
I didn't have it queued up.
Oh, you. So, anyways, going back to Coruscant, that at that point in the timeline, it's right after a massive attack by the Sith armies. You just killed Ben. It's a massive attack by the Sith armies that basically destroyed the Jedi Temple at the time. So the entire planet is in ruins when you try to explore it in that video game.
What spoiler? There's a character in the show. She's in the trailer.
You said she betrayed them. That's a spoiler.
Oh shit! Sorry. Yeah, I
totally
forgot.
Think, Soda. Think.
I don't want to think.
But yeah, it's sad to me that the only time you can visit the planet in that game is when it's completely in ruins. It's in shambles, falling to like crime syndicates and such. But it would be nice to visit that planet in its prime. And fun fact that I think Taco might know about that, but it is later revealed that the Jedi Temple was built on the ruins of an old Sith temple in an attempt to purify the Sith temple of the dark side. And during the after Order 66, the Emperor basically turned it into a museum for the Clone Wars and for the Jedi.
Oh, wow.
In an attempt to mock the Jedi even further. And I believe in the animated show Lego Star Wars, the Freemaker Adventures, they actually go into an entire museum inside the Jedi Temple. Or maybe it's a different building. I don't remember, but yeah, that's the thing.
So what's Coruscant up to now in where we are in Star Wars? Like, what happened to it?
Isn't it up? I mean,
I think it's still around. It's no longer the capital. Like I said, It was Osnian Prime, as revealed during Bloodlines, but then obviously, like I said, it got destroyed. So maybe after Osnian Prime and the New Republic got destroyed, they went back to Coruscant. I think they mentioned something like that. One of the books that preludes The Rise of Skywalker. Okay. So my bad. It was a different place with the museum from that show. But like I said, Taco will correct me. But that's no idea what Coruscant is up to. We do see it in Return of the Jedi, like I said, like with Naboo, but.
Which is actually, I know a lot of people give crap to a lot of the additions. That's actually one I really appreciate they put in, because now we just see the scale of what the victory means. Yeah,
galaxy wide.
Yeah. How do you feel about Jar Jar being there in that?
Well, no, that wasn't Jar. That wasn't Jar Jar. That was just
some random gun saying "Misa free."
Because if I'm not mistaken, by this time, if we're going with modern canon, Jar Jar by this point would have been relegated to a street clown.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It was a jester. Court jester.
Yeah. And basically, they wrote it so the people treat him like the audience treats him in a way like, he made the biggest mistake in the world. He's a piece of crap. He's nothing more than a children's entertainer. Yeah.
But hey, at least he's still happy.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay, so that brings up the number 2. So like I said, I don't have any honorable mentions. 50. And Ben, do you?
I have a few.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Eagle, the Living Planet.
Yes.
E.T. Homeworld.
Okay.
I don't know the name of it.
Have we
Vulcan.
Oh yeah.
What? I didn't listen to that. I didn't catch that. Oh.
Vulcan.
Okay. And a really cool planet that we saw a few minutes of in one movie, Cybertron.
Oh yeah.
Oh, cool.
That is cool. Which movie are we going from? We going from Transformers?
Bumblebee.
Bumblebee. Oh god, that opening sequence of Bumblebee.
Yeah. That opening sequence is better than any of the other 5 movies, period. End of story, in my opinion.
So this is Taco's actual number 1, and I have to agree, this is actually a pretty cool planet. It's the only thing I actually cared for in that movie. This is from the Adrian Brody, Topher Grace film.
Oh, you didn't like that one?
I'm not a big fan. The movie just didn't stick out to me, but I liked the concept of it and what they were doing.
To be honest, I know there might be a hot take, and I'm okay with it. I think I like that movie more than the original. It's like,
ooh,
okay,
that's fired. Eesh.
Hey, that's me.
Yep.
Do you expect anything else from me?
Hell no.
Nah.
Yeah.
And you might fucking honest opinion about it. Live with it.
And you know what? That's why I don't believe in the term hot takes, because your take is your take.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be controversial whatsoever.
Okay, so Matt, what's your number one?
Wait. What about me?
You're at 50's honorable mentions, dude.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
come
I'm
on.
sorry. I'm sorry.
For once, it's not-
You have
attacked
forgotten,
me.
Ben. You have forgotten who you are, and so forgotten me.
Ha!
Anyways, so honorable mention time. Hoth, but specifically Hoth from SWTOR, the Star Wars: The Old Republic, which was
Oh,
the site of a grand scale battle between the Jedi and the Sith. It's a graveyard of just ships, and there's a massive tower in there. It's a great place to visit in SWTOR. Scarif, because I like some beaches. Tatooine, because it's somehow close to where I live right now.
Shit, that's right.
Yeah, the Scroll homeworld, not really the Scroll homeworld, but a planet populated by the Scrolls, which you get to visit in Marvel Ultimate Alliance, the original video game on the PS2. It's a planet, you go there to stop Galactus. It's a whole thing, and one of my favorite features in that game is that is one of very few very few levels where you can actually throw people off a ledge and listen to their screams, and every character has a different scream. It's morbid, but it's fun. But yeah,
No, I have a question about that planet real quick. It was covered in scrolls. Does that mean they're always changing their bodies?
the Scrolls, yeah, they're the one, the shapeshifters from Captain Marvel.
Yeah, are they always shifting?
No, they live there as Scrolls, as a Scroll society. But it's not, like I said, it's not the home world. It's a planet they conquered and visited, and lived there. And a final planet for my honorable mentions is a planet we never actually get to see, but we do hear a lot about, and it's the planet known as Raxacoricophalapatorius. The home planet of Raxacoricophalapatorians, and one very specific family known as the Slitheen.
Yes, one of the hardest names to pronounce.
I'm guessing Doctor Who.
Yeah, it's one of the hardest names to pronounce. Was one of the funnest names out there.
But yeah, apparently there's an entire solar system of Raxacoricophalapatorius, Clom, Clix, and Raxacoricophalampatorus. And apparently there are so the Slitheen aren't really a race; they're a family. A large family so big that they might as well be an entire species. But other Raxacoricophalapatorians include the Bletherine, the Hostracine, the Dragocine, all kinds of Raxacoricophalapatorians in different colors. So like the Slitheen are all green with yellow claws. The Bletherine are all red with green claws. And they show up in the Sergian Adventures.
Right.
Right on.
Like I said, very lore-heavy planet, but not good enough to beat Skaro or my number one.
Of course. Okay, then. So my number one is a planet that we only saw in one Star Wars movie, and it was in The Force Awakens. And oh my God, is it breathtaking! It's none other than Takodana, which is where Maz Kanata is situated.
We didn't see it in Rise of Skywalker?
Did we see that in Rise of Skywalker? No, I don't think we did.
No,
it was only in Force Awakens.
I think you're right.
Like you go to it in video games and stuff, but really the only live action is in The Force Awakens. But it's another place that kind of reminds me of where I live, because if you go and you explore and you look at the abandoned towns where I live, they kind of are reminiscent of what surrounds her tavern, bar, whatever the hell you want to call it. But it's another place like, it's where a lot of bad people converge, but it's another one where it's just like you could get lost in the wilderness there and be fine with it. Like, it is a great looking place.
I wasn't a big fan of a lot of the planets that you get to explore in Lego Star Wars: The Force Awakens, which basically it's only just the planets from that. movie, but
Fun game.
well, yeah, fun game. Though wasn't a big fan of a lot of planets, but that one was definitely my favorite.
Yeah. But I mean, like, look at that. Like, look at that lake. Like, that, again, this is something you would see in the mountains where I live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looked
Maybe they did
beautiful.
film it in Canada, like everything
Oh, yeah.
else.
I took a picture of something similar. You guys can keep talking. I'm going to try to find the picture.
So I've been to that planet in 2 video games enough times that I think I already know the landscape well enough that if by some miracle I was dropped into that planet right now, I'd be able to find my way there. Find my way around.
Would you be able to, okay, here's a question for you. Moses place or the cantina? Which one would you rather go for a drink?
I think in Maz's place there's less of a chance I could get shot in the head. So yeah, I'm going to see Maz's place.
Yep, that's as
The
good a reason as
cantina, I
any.
mean, it's Tatooine is ruled by the Hutts. They're not really known for being friendly. So at least Maz Kanata keeps a tight place. Even when Hondo shows up.
Mm.
And yes, Hondo does show up in Maz Kanata's place multiple times.
Not surprised.
Yeah.
Okay, so 50, what is your number one? And I will keep looking for that picture while you guys are talking.
Can you guess?
Gallifrey?
Correctamundo, a word I have never used before, and hopefully never will again. Yeah. Gallifrey, it's a planet with orange sky.
Mhm.
Picture that. Just like Tatooine, 2 suns, because why not? A silver city encased in a dome. The leaves on the trees were silver. When the second sun would rise from the east, and the mountains would shine, and the reflection of the sun on the silver leaves looks like a forest on fire. I can go on how beautiful that place is. It's a very tragic location because obviously the Time War.
Mm-hmm.
Which led to the destruction of the Time Lords, and obviously the resurrection of the Time Lords, but we don't need to talk about that right now. But yeah, it's very heavily cultured. So basically, young Gallifreyans are taken from their homes in the age of 8. So taken from their homes in the age of 8 and go to the academy to see if they can become Time Lords, because not every Gallifreyan ends up being a Time Lord. And at the age of 6, they stare into the untempered schism, which is a hole in the fabric of space, and you can see all of history through that one place to get inspired to being the person that you're going to grow up to be. And obviously there are so many different roles to play in the in Gallifrey, and obviously there's like just like with Coruscant, where there's like the underworld, there's also like a subsection of Gallifreyans that didn't make it Time Lords, and they were banished from the Citadel and started their own communities there. And another part I appreciate about it is apparently there's even a traffic control on the planet itself. There's an episode in the classic series which takes place pretty much entirely on Gallifrey, and while the Doctor is running away from things, it quickly cuts away to like a radio station telling us the traffic update and the weather update.
Is it the trial of the Doctor, Tom Baker?
No, that surprisingly that whole season didn't even take place on Gallifrey. It took place on a Gallifreyan ship.
Oh, okay.
But it was during the 4th Doctor era. I think it was the one where the Master died and tried to resurrect himself
Again.
Yeah, for the first time.
Oh, for the first time. Fair point.
When he was all skeleton-like.
Mm.
Definitely the scariest that the Master has ever looked. But yeah, Gallifrey and the constellation of Castabras.
Yeah, we don't really see Gallifrey much in the new Who. I think we only see it the one time, and that is in where the Master is reintroduced.
So no, we do see it a lot in the 50th anniversary.
That's right. Yes, that's right. I did forget that. That's true.
And we also at the end of time when Rastalon shows back up again, played by Timothy Dalton of all people.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously we see it a lot during the Peter Capaldi era.
Yeah, that's well. I didn't really watch a lot of the Capaldi, and that's what I was thinking was when Timothy Dalton appeared.
Yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, with several episodes ago with Jodie Whittaker, where we see the history of the Time Lords and how Time Lords got the ability to regenerate, we do see lots of flashbacks there, and also, spoiler alert: that episode introduces Cybermen Time Lords. Just try to envision that in your head for a second there. But also, it's always been known that Gallifrey has been governed by 3 main Time Lords: Rassilon, Omega, and a Cardinal, which has remained unnamed for centuries. Speculation now kind of points to either the Doctor herself or Tecteun, the woman who found the timeless child. I can go on and on forever on Doctor Who lore, but yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to cut that short because I would be interested in hearing all that. So Ben, take us home. What's your number one?
I can't believe this is still open and nobody has said this, nobody has mentioned this. Asgard.
I was waiting for you to say that. I mentioned earlier that Force Moon of Endor, the city of Kandor. I was referencing to that planet, Asgard. The reason why I don't have it on my list is because I don't consider it a planet. I consider it a city floating in space, because that's basically what it is.
Yeah.
So if you ever do top 5 sci-fi cities, it definitely would be on my list. But that I hoped someone had Asgard on their list, so I can bring up that point.
No, I'm not allowed to use it. Is that what you're telling me?
50?
I would love to visit it. I just, like I said, it's not a planet, in my opinion.
For this purpose, we will allow it, since it is literally the
No. You can. I said I'm keeping it off my list.
Yeah.
You don't have to keep it off of your list. Just like what I said earlier with Kandor City.
All right. Yeah, I want to visit that. Look at that thing. Look how beautiful it is.
Mm-hmm.
I want to meet all. I don't have all cons, but I want to meet some of the cons. I want to go on the Rainbow Bridge. I want to eat that food. I want to have another. And it looks fun as hell, and I want to visit that.
It does. It looks like what you would think ancient Rome was like.
Yeah, and
If Rome was in the future, yeah.
Ancient Rome in space. Yeah. Ancient Rome in space.
And you know what? I want to be in one of those plays with the Matt Damon actor and the Sam Neill actor.
And the other Hemsworth.
Luke Hemsworth.
The third Hemsworth.
I want to be in one of those plays. That looks fun.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I agree. Like, Asgard is a wonderful, wonderful planet, and every time we visit it in the MCU, it's awesome.
And also, it's possible to visit it in Lego Marvel's Avengers and see the beauty of that place take full shape. And obviously, it's there in like the other video game we mentioned, Lego Marvel Superheroes 2, except it's kind of destroyed. Like the Rainbow Bridge is broken. It's like after Surtur showed up and destroyed all of Asgard. So it's not a fun place to visit.
Yeah, I've got to say the Lego Marvel Avengers game out of the 3 of them is probably my least favorite.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what it was. I don't know. It's just never really.
Is it because you already know the movies well enough?
I think so. The
other one has an original story,
which is weird because like Lego Indiana Jones is one of my favorite in the series. I know the movies, but it's just something about the Lego Avengers. I don't know. It's never really got me.
I'll be honest. I love the Lego Harry Potter games.
Oh, me too.
Me too, and I'm playing them right now.
Yeah.
But the Lego Marvel Avengers, I think, it has two main things going for it. I think it's the best flying mechanic in any Lego game ever. Period.
I will give you
think
that.
they perfected it. Somehow they went a little bit backwards when they made the next couple of Lego games where you can fly. But there's that, and also I'm a big fan of these little details in video games that most people wouldn't give it the time of day. I just love them. But there's a trophy room in Avengers Tower where every like side mission you do, piece of it shows up randomly, just shows up in that room. So like there's a mission involving Squirrel Girl with squirrels. There's a squirrel running around. There's a mission involving Claw talking about cuttlefish because apparently he's afraid of cuttlefish, as we see in the movie. There's an aquarium with cuttlefish that just shows up in there. There's a mission involving alligators with machine guns on their backs because Lego. A machine gun alligator shows up in the aquarium. Like every time you do something out of the ordinary, an item just randomly shows up in that trophy room, and it's great. They tried to replicate it in Lego Marvel Superheroes 2. Didn't quite work to the same effect, in my opinion, but that is one thing I really appreciate. That, and going back to Star Wars, in Jedi Fallen Order, there's an option where you can go to different planets and pick up seeds and plant them in a terrarium on the ship, and watch the seeds grow. I love small details like that in video games, and it's something that I wish more video games would do. I wish in some video games, like a side feature, you can just pick up animals from different species and just raise them in sort of like a zoo on your home base. I love these things, but yeah, that's my weird tangent for the day.
Well, anything else you want to say about Asgard, Ben?
It's like a great city and planet, and I would love to visit it. And I hope we see it again in the MCU.
Oh, we will, because I heard Sif's coming back, so we good chance we will.
Right.
All right, well, that brings an end to the top 5 planets list.
And I guess right now there really is just a little bit of time left to say, look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you, and so will I.
And on that note, 50, where can everybody find you when you're not looking to the stars?
Are we not picking next week's topic? It's your turn.
We don't know whose topic it is.
Oh, it's your turn. It was your turn last week, but we gave it to Taco.
Right. Ah, crap. Okay. Top 5 video game adaptations.
Adaptations?
Yep.
Movies or...
Of movies.
But wait. Movies adapted into video games?
Yes.
Okay. Because video games adapted into movies.
Yeah, so you can include any of the Lego Star Wars. Probably not Clone Wars. You can do Lego Indiana Jones. You can do Lego Harry Potter.
Wait. Clone Wars was a movie first, and a piece of that movie appears in the Lego Clone Wars movie.
Okay. So you can include that, but you can also include things like one of mine, The Godfather. There's also Batman Begins, which was a fun game. You got all the old Super Nintendo ones. There's plenty of games you can choose from here. So I think actually would be a fun topic. Top 5 movie to video game adaptations.
Oh, okay. So not the other way around.
No, back in the day, they used to, like, one of the promotional tools was they would release video games to the movies, which they don't do anymore, really.
Not anymore, yeah.
No, now it's the other way around.
They just do like their own thing, like the Spider-Man video game, the Avengers video game.
Oh, I already know my number 1.
Yeah.
I already know my number 1.
Okay, so there we go. That's the topic for next week. So 50.
And full disclosure, I have yet to play the Lion King video game. I played like a little bit of it, but
really,
it didn't come out on a console that I had at the time.
Well, I know right now on Xbox you can buy as a package of that and the Aladdin one.
Another one I have yet to play.
Yeah, so if you can get it, I would highly recommend doing it.
Okay.
I'm actually looking forward to this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What can I say except you're welcome?
You're welcome.
All right, 50. Where can everybody find you?
You can find me on my YouTube channel, 50 Shades of Geek. You can find me on Twitch, 50 Shades O Geek without the F. Hopefully, I'll have time to do a live stream today. Where I will be playing one of the ones that might be on my list, the Lego Harry Potter video game, where I will also be building Legos during the thing. I'm also training for a Harry Potter trivia match that hopefully will take place finally next week against Aisha Kenya over on John Roca's Patreon. Speaking of which, I'm also participating in a Inner Geekdom free-for-all on Mark Riley's Patreon later today. You can also find me later tonight on Let's Talk About Star Wars with Taco and Evan. And you can also find me on Patreon, patreon.com/Pokemon Star Cross and Crescent, where I'm designing a Pokemon fan game based on Israel, the country where I live in, and this is one of the characters that's going to be in the game.
Very nice. And Ben, what about you?
You can find me at my Twitter at BenRainier. I can't talk. At Ben_Rainier. You can find me in about 2 hours on this channel doing Mount Schmodown covering the exchange. We have 2 guests, Matt here, and somebody else that I'm pretty excited about meeting.
Well, we might as well say who it is. It's one of the guys who is always in the chat. I figured it's time to bring him on screen. We're gonna have Leo Logan joining us for the first time on Mount Schmodown.
Nice. I'm looking forward to that. You can also find me every Tuesday on Shooting the Breeze with Matt here. Every Friday on Recapping the Past.
Again with me.
Again with Matt. And right here, every Saturday on Get the Smitty, release by people.
Yeah. And as for myself, you can find me on my personal Instagram and Twitter at soda_the_saxman. You can find me on all the shows that Ben has mentioned on this channel, as well as Schmodown 9 in Canada, most Fridays and sometimes Sundays as well. You can find me producing the Star Wars show that 50 is going to be on later on tonight. Let's talk about Star Wars. It's going to be a good episode because we're going to be ranking the Jedi in Star Wars in Star Wars lore. So this is going to be fun. And also debuting this Wednesday on this channel is going to be a new show of mine and a gentleman I just recently met for the first time, Dustin Dubuque. It's going to be called The Squared Slice. So what we're going to do is we're going to be just discussing about just a topic to do with wrestling, whatever. We're not going to be covering anything modern unless something major happens. So we're just going to be talking about stuff from the past. And at the end, we might recommend a movie with a wrestler in it or revolving around wrestling. Hence the name The Squared Slice, because wrestlers in film is the slice and the schmodown, and the nickname for the professional wrestling ring is the squared circle. So I figured, hey, there you go. And also last night I made my debut in the Outlaw Patreon League in the Inner Geekdom division. So join up to that, John Roca's Patreon, to check that match out. It was actually a lot of fun. I didn't know what I was expecting. I didn't know what I got myself into. It was actually a lot of fun. So on behalf of myself, 50, and Ben, we will see you next week when we discuss our top 5 movie to video game adaptations. So we will see you then. And don't forget, everyone, stay sweaty.